Welcome back to my channel. Hi guys, if this is your first time here, go ahead and thumbs up the video. Okay, certainly leave a comment about whatever you're gonna hear me talk about today, but we're mukbanging today, okay? And then certainly subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. All right, so y'all, I'm hungry. I'm on my lunch break, and it's a little toasty in here. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on, y'all. So I'm on my lunch break, and I was like, you know what? I want to eat something that I've never ate for you guys before, and something that I really like, because I'm like having a moment. Like, I'm really, I don't know how I'm just feeling lots of emotions, and I don't really know completely why. I know some of why, you know what I mean? But anyway, we'll talk more about that. So what I got today is crab wangan or ragoon, one of the two. And at the mall, I got these from the mall, y'all. Y'all see that? It's so good. The last time I was here and I had them, I was with my daughter. They are delicious. And then they give you some type of sauce, sweet sauce for it. And then, just 1 second. And for you new subscribers, welcome to the channel. I see I did pick up some new subscribers. I didn't check to see which video you came in on, but welcome. You are very, very much welcome here. This is basically what I have is a eating show. And it's a lot about food because I learned that I'm a foodie. But also I love to have wonderful conversations. While I'm eating, sometimes I have conversations with others, and sometimes it's just you and I. Okay, so y'all, I got me an egg roll. And I asked for some hot sauce, so I'll eat this first. Looks pretty good. So anyway, yeah, and I got me a Pepsi to the side, y'all. So I will be burping somewhere in this video. I'll try not to burp as loud. This thing is tiny. And it was $1.99. It's real small, but it's good. It's a pork egg roll. So like I mentioned in the video, y'all, I got a lot of feelings going on. My emotions are all over the place. And that happens with me frequently. And I think that happens to all adults. I mean, all people, humans, children. We're trying to figure out what do we do with these emotions. And some of us feel a lot more emotions than other people. Some of us actually feel other people's emotions. Well, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I get such a serious download that it like short circuit my wires, honey, and I have to get by myself. Like some people are like energy vampires. They need other people's energy because they're they're not in tune with themselves a lot. I'm the opposite of that. I have to withdraw and get by myself. So today, I guess that's what I'll be talking to you guys about, emotions and all that. You know, we got this saying. It goes like, y'all done heard people say it, child such and such need to get out their feelings. such and such need to get out their feelings. But I say this about that. What would this world be if we didn't have emotions? So emotions are important, but it's the managing them. Learning how to manage them is super, super, super important. All right, y'all, we're going to get into this delicious thing, honey. It's got all this cream cheese. Y'all see all that cream cheese in there? It's so much. I don't want to spill this Sprite, so I'm gonna pour this sauce. I'm gonna pour it down over this plate, y'all. Y'all won't be able to see me do that. Y'all see me eat it though. Set that to the side, y'all. I've been craving this. I started to come down here the other night. You see how I poured the sauce on there? This is one of my favorite things to eat. But they're not the same everywhere you go. Like theirs, for y'all that live in the same town that I live, I'm at the Triangle Mall, right at the food court next to Saks Fifth Avenue. It's the Asian. Y'all see all that cream cheese? The Asian spot inside of there. It's so good. I ain't trying to not pay y'all no attention, but honey, this right here is so good. I got two more. So yeah, y'all, we be attempting to manage our emotions. And I feel like when we don't know what to do with our emotions, I think we sometimes can look to other people, excuse me, y'all, to regulate us. And that's not fair. It's not fair. Those are your emotions. You know what I mean? So you're supposed to figure out what you need to do to get them straightened out, not use other people. So when I get to feeling some type of way, I withdraw. I disengage and get by myself. It won't take long. Because I can sort my emotions out better when I'm by myself. You know what I'm saying? And by myself means without the television, without the TV, and without the phone. I'm literally just spending quiet time by myself. And I'm not just thinking. I'm not just thinking about what's bothering me and why, right? I'm feeling. Okay? I'm feeling what I need to feel. I'm not trying to avoid, dismiss, or stuff my feelings. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say that for y'all again. I'm not trying to avoid, dismiss, or stuff any of my feelings, because that's how people get an overload. If you avoid your feelings, you're not gonna grow. If you dismiss it, then you're in denial. If you stuff it, then you're gonna explode. And you could explode while you're at work. Or you could explode at the gas station. Or you could explode with your child or with your spouse. And they like, what? What happened? Y'all, we got to tend to our emotions. It's important. And the reason why we got to tend to it is because if we neglect our emotions, then you go numb. And then when you go numb, you really can't experience life the way that you need to or could. And all these beautiful things about life that happen not in the future or in the past, but happens now, you'll be on auto mode, and you won't be able to really experience it like you need to. Ooh, y'all, excuse me. I'm sorry. Some of the ways I can think that we express negative emotions, or some of the ways that we deal with our emotions: drinking, overeating, or emotional eating, sex, drugs, overworking. That's all, y'all, listen. All those ones I just named, we can abuse those things in an attempt to regulate ourselves. So, when somebody's on drugs, it's not about the drug. It's not. That's what people say. That's what we do. We pinpoint the drug. Or just like if you've ever watched 600-Pound Life. If y'all have ever watched that show, it was never about the food. It was never about the food. The food is just an attempt to manage the issue. So when you drink and drug and having too much sex, depending on, overeating and all these things, it's an attempt to regulate your emotion. Overworking. Some people overlook that one. Some people overlook it because working and, working on a job and making money so that you could support your life or your lifestyle, and that's a good thing when you know that somebody works and it's like, oh God, they're a good worker and they're so faithful and they're so committed and all that stuff, and they're excellent for the company, or they're entrepreneur, and honey, they go get the bag. But if it's in excess, it's an attempt to manage your emotions, because it's something that you're avoiding excuse me, y'all, and something that that's haunting you, and you're pouring yourself into excessive amount of work hours so you don't have to deal with it. Just like the person who that feels some type of way and orders an extra large meat lovers pizza, eat the whole thing. And while they're eating, they're not worried about the thing that's causing them emotional distress. It was never about the drugs, the sex, the food, the smoking, the drinking, the overworking. It's all about the emotions. It's all about the emotions, y'all. I remember my coach and we had a conversation. And she said, Cheryl, she said, I believe that a large percentage of our society is emotion phobic. A large percentage of our society is emotion phobic. Like, we learn how to do everything else except for tend to our emotion and our feelings. Um, I remember when I was doing coaching with my coach and we were dealing with the emotion side of it, suppressed feelings, stuffed feelings, bottled up feelings. And she began to deal with me, and the way that she did it was we began to name emotions. But before she showed me the emotion wheel, and I'm just going to throw a number out there, there were like maybe 300, 400, 500 different emotions. But when she asked me at first to explain how I felt emotion wise, it was hard to verbalize it, because it's a skill set that most of us don't have. We don't have it because a lot of times we were not taught this in our early life, in childhood, you know. And the emotion, the big L word, the love word, and we think we know how to properly love, and the reality is that we very much don't. We very much do not, for the most part. We have, because when you think of it, what I'm learning about love now is that it's not selfish. You know what I mean? It's not. Love is not selfish. Like, we gotta love people enough to allow them to be themselves. You know what I mean? Or maybe you don't know what I mean. But what I'm saying is, we all. So I'm back, y'all. The phone died. So what I was saying was, I got my glasses on now because I want to see y'all better. So what I was saying is that we expect so much from other people, right? Let me take my seatbelt off. I don't even know why I reached for my seatbelt to put it on. But we expect so much from other people in the area of love. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we don't even properly know how to love ourselves. And you can't, y'all, this is so serious. So I want y'all to listen. You can't ask somebody else to do what you won't do for your own self. Did y'all hear that? I can't ask you to love me by serving me and accommodating me and being kind and gentle and patient towards me, and to be forgiving and merciful and generous towards me, and to be attentive towards me when I'm not doing every one of those things for and to myself. I am not my body. I live in it. I'm not my brain either. I have one. So since this is my earth house and this is a body, which is part of me, then all of these things I can do for myself, and I can love myself in that way. And guess what? I'm learning too, y'all. I've been doing lots of study and research, and which that ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? When I used to read the scriptures, I'm talking about the Holy Bible, because I could be talking about the Quran or any other spiritual literature, but I'm talking about the Bible. And maybe I will read the Quran one day. I don't know. But anyway, I just love to research. But when I was reading it, I studied the thing. I took a microscopic look at it, and with a certain type of focus and intensity and a certain type of grace that I gave for it, the Bible. So when you love yourself, you got to figure out all of what and who you are. That's what makes life worth living. That's your job. Like somebody told us a long time ago, oh, well, you go to school, and then you go get your degree, or start your career, your entrepreneurship, or you work for a corporation. Either way, and then you make this money, and then you begin to create this life that you want. You set up for retirement. You have kids, you raise kids, and all that stuff, and then you end up, living the latter part of your life with ease, because you got enough money to pay all of your necessities. And some, nobody told us that while you're doing all of that stuff, while you're doing all of that, there's another part to it. It's called the the other part is about loving yourself and the emotional intelligence, so that you can enjoy life, so that we're not just abiding our time in this body. That's not what it's for. See, because most of what we want, we really can do it for ourselves. And you might say, sure, now come on now, why you keep talking like that? Because you know what I'm saying, the ideal situation is that everybody wants to be with somebody. That is ideal, or it was ideal, but now we learning now, and today, is that you really can do most of what you want for yourself. And I know for sure, because I've spent plenty of days arguing and cussing and dissatisfied and hurt and crying and whining and arguing, about what I wasn't getting from these people. And I could do it for myself. It's almost like I went back and listened to Lena's Horn song that she sang in The Wiz. Y'all go look at it. Go type it up on the YouTube and listen to it. And it's talking about believing in yourself. And when you do, you can find your way back home. And I thought it was beautiful, because as I was studying, I was like, oh, to find your way back home is to find your way back to yourself. To find your way back home inside of you. It's all about you. It really is. And I'm going to teach my grandchildren this, y'all. I'm going to teach my grandchildren this. Now, there's a community part to this whole thing. So, but the journey is to find yourself back to you. And while you're doing that, you'll find people that are like-minded, that know how to do the same thing. And then there'll be a community-based thing where people get together, you know what I'm saying, and just do nice things for others. But you don't do that first. I used to think that. Don't y'all do that. Don't y'all do that. You got to be, because I've known so many people that have left this world, right? And towards the end, their biggest regret was not living this life in their body and doing some of the things and going to some of the places and experiencing some of the things and eating some of the things that they wanted, because they could have done that. It's their life in their body. And emotional intelligence is a very big part of that. Because when we get our emotions together and go in there, inside of us, inside of our soul, or some people call it the shadow, some people call it different things, whatever you call it. Some people call it the spirit, but you go inside of there and you begin to sort things out and open up different containers inside of you and look, because sometimes you done bottled something up inside of you, put the lid on it, labeled it and pushed it back on a shelf inside of you, and you don't forgot about it. It's time for you to go get it, open it up, investigate what's inside of it, feel how you feel about it, process those emotions so you can take whatever's in that container out, rinse the container out, dry it, put the lid back on it, and store it. It's a fresh container. And do all of that to the containers inside of you so that you won't be weighed down, so that you can start experiencing this life. That's what I'm doing, y'all, so that I can start experiencing all life has to offer. and where I'm not worried and overly concerned about others and looking outside of myself for pleasure or validation. That's a good word. And all that stuff, because I can do that for myself. But if I got stuffed emotions, stuff that ain't dealt with, I can't do that, because see what I'm doing, I'm avoiding myself, my real issues, and that stuff that I put in that container, sealed it, labeled it, and pushed it to the back and forgot about. It's time to go open that stuff up and get it cleaned out. And then you can put the container back. And now you got room for a whole bunch of good stuff. Now you got room for a whole bunch of good stuff, y'all. You got room for a whole bunch of good stuff. And I'm telling y'all this, I'm sharing this with y'all because, I learned a lot. And I spent a lot of money learning. And since then, I've been meeting people and I've been practicing these things, and they work. Because I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to give y'all something else for free. When we got negative emotions that are in our containers, some people call it, I'm going to say containers because I like that. Or some people call it shadow, your shadow, and some people call it soul. But when you got negative emotions inside of you, it turns into dis-ease. It's a dis-ease. You're not at ease, and then it turns into disease. Because when I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism at 23, 24, my doctor told me because of the level of stress, and I believe it was through and by my husband, who was a narcissist, 1000%. Living with him and regulating his emotions, being used as a battery source for him, he stressed me out so bad. Somebody in the comment section wanted to know more about my marriage. So this is a snippet of more about my first marriage. He wore me out so bad that my body turned diseased, and basically the doctor described it as like my body turned on itself. It turned on itself because I was giving to him, giving him everything that he needed inwardly, regulating his emotions, also taking his negative emotions out, giving him my positive energy, because it don't take me about, I don't even think it take me 24 hours to regenerate. I'm serious. Y'all should be able to look at me and tell. Y'all should be able to look at me and tell, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't, like, the only thing I need to do is get by myself, and I could get it together. I don't have to come, but at the same time, just like I described earlier, I did have stuff in my containers that was sealed, labeled, and pushed to the back that I wasn't dealing with myself. But anyway, getting back to what I said, you can become diseases come upon us. Stuff like autoimmune diseases and arthritis, and of course stress and high blood pressure. Y'all, these are all it's just equals or translate into emotions. It's about your feeling, how you feel, how you felt. If you're ignoring them, if you're storing it, if you're stuffing it, no. Emotions were meant to be felt and released through the body, not to be stuffed. And y'all, we've not been taught how to do that. We've not even been taught to honor our emotions. We've been taught to get over it and go somewhere and sit down. We've been taught, oh, well, if you just use your faith, God will take care of it. God done already took care. He gave you a body. You in the body. It's up to us to figure out how this thing works. That's our job. God can't do everything. Why would he do everything? What would be the point? If you was the creator, would you do everything? No. It's not about us being lazy, but it's about the herd mentality. It's about everybody else do it, so I'm gonna do it too. Like, but what I learned, this is another thing that I learned for y'all. I'm giving y'all a lot of good stuff today. This is good here. Everybody is different, y'all. There are so many different types of personalities that it's just ridiculous. I'm serious. It's not like you can get one set of instructions for everybody. I know that's how our society do it, but our society need to evolve. And I would imagine in the next 50 years, because they are creating legislation around mental illness. Like it's actually going to the court level where certain things about people, like with our, for instance, the police come up on somebody who is mentally ill, combative, not in their right mind, and slightly on drugs. And then he assumes, or because he has authority, he has authority means his set of instructions that he learned in police school, that when he gives a command, that person that he give the command to is supposed to stop. Well, in the world of mental health, we very much know, and I'm a part of that world because I'm a pointer. We very much know that's not going to work. He not going to stop. He not. And if you following Mr. Police Guy, your manuscript or your education, you going to shoot and kill him. And he didn't have the capacity to stop. That's a good word. That's a good word. He don't have the capacity to stop because his emotional world and his mental world is screwed the hell up. That's where it equals doesn't have the capacity to stop, and therefore he ends up dead. So they are creating legislation. They have created some, but there'll be a whole lot more legislation around mental illness and emotional illnesses, because we've learned the world of psychology and the study of man's behavior. That's just us humans. Somebody taking the time. I think psychology is the best shit ever, and I can only imagine in the next 40 years what it will become. I can only imagine. You know what I'm saying? I could just only imagine. But the study of us, man, boy, girl, woman, man, just humankind, the study of us, what we do, how we funnel information, all of that. What happens in our body when we're in high stressful situations? What happens to a person when they living with somebody who has little to no emotional intelligence? Because they've been scarred so greatly as a child, because they've been neglected emotionally by two parents who work and have jobs and are creating a home. They are creating food. They've supplied clothing, but they don't ever emotionally attend to that child. What happens to a person like that when they grow up and they become somebody's husband? What happens? The study of man's behavior. Psychology is the best thing. I tell people right now, if y'all know any preachers or anything, direct them to my channel. I used to be a preacher too. I did. But I realized that in my evolution, I'll use that word, came through and by me reading and studying scripture, and then realizing my strong observation of life. There was a complete, those two things didn't go together. They did not. The reality versus the scriptures, especially the way that they were taught, was because of my level of intelligence. I saw what I needed to see. It wasn't given at all. So if y'all know any people who are strongly religious and indoctrinated, and you're looking for a formula, one formula to fit everybody, like one size fits all, and we know that some people 700 pounds versus a person who 200 pounds, and then you got somebody over there that don't weigh but 65 pounds soaking wet, that one garment ain't gonna fit everybody. That's the observation. Now, that's a funny observation, but what I'm saying, that's how it goes. Now, psychology, the world of psychology and the study of man and our behavior and how we think and how we feel and how we see and what happens when we are in certain environments and how that changes our personalities is important. Say, for instance, just imagine, if y'all know anything about narcissism, y'all know it's on a spectrum. You know it's on a spectrum. You got somebody I got earlier videos, y'all, talking about narcissism, so go check them out. And I'm on a really long lunch break, so I got the time today. I got the time. So we know that narcissism is on a spectrum. So you got right here, you got narcissism, and then you got empathy, the empathetic person. Narcissistic person, the empathetic person. Okay, empathetic meaning loving, kind, all that stuff, capable of empathy, capable of feeling what other people are feeling. And sometimes we feel way too much because we feel all of their emotions. And then you got the narcissistic person over here that really don't care about nobody but themselves. So there is a level. So there's the spectrum, y'all. This is the spectrum. So you got a level of healthy here, and you got a level of healthy here. You know what I'm saying? Because to be too empathetic is to not, you won't be looking out for yourself at all, and that's not healthy either. So you got two extremes. So it's on the spectrum. So you want to be somewhere here. You want to be at least here. But you don't want to get too far down here now. Not too far, but you want to be kind of close to it. You know, that's the ideal thing to do. But you got lots of people who are here. Basically, they like this here. They little to none, and they a whole lot narcissistic. So little empathy to none, and they a whole lot narcissistic. And so that is the problem. It's a lot of that is the problem, y'all. And guess what? They can't grow themselves. When you on the spectrum at the little to none part on the scale down here, you can't fix that by yourself. Imagine somebody being like that some preacher done put them in the pulpit because they came to church on time, because they did study the Bible, because they know a good amount of the scriptures. They come to every special function. They pay their tithes. But the reality of the situation, they don't have empathy for other people. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take the scriptures and they're going to take the Bible and they're going to be the biggest pointer in the world. They're going to gravitate toward the inflammatory scriptures, the condemning scriptures, and they're going to condemn the shit out of you until to the point where you're going to be sitting in church and disease is going to be entering into your body because the level of condemnation that's going to be inside of your body into your cells is going to be ridiculous, and the whole thing is unhealthy. Now you say, sure, now you're going too far. No, I ain't going too far. I done already lived it. That's how I know. And other people that I have talked to. Yes. Emotional intelligence. Just imagine preachers that are setting other people loose in this world that are narcissists, and then you have the Bible as a tool in your hand. You're going to create the biggest shit on the planet. It happens all day, every day. Y'all better start looking at this narcissism on the spectrum and be paying attention to who's proclaiming the word of God, because I'm going to tell you something. Whenever you're dealing with a narcissist, he cannot see himself. He got a self-reflection problem. He or she. Okay? Those scriptures are for you. They're not for them. They're going to build themselves up and tear you down every time. Okay? They're going to do it every time. They're going to see themselves as totally righteous, and you're going to be the sinner. That's right. And they're going to wear you out all the time. And then they're going to tell you that God told them for you to listen to them, and they are stewards over you. Narcissism has no business in the pulpit. None. Narcissists don't need power. They need to be stripped of their power. The reason why they gain power is because they're dealing with people that's way down here on the spectrum that don't know how to really look at themselves, or no, to look after themselves and to guard themselves. They are sheep indeed. They are. And so my thing is, I have a vision and I know it's going to come to pass. It might take 40 more years or 50, but narcissism is going to be something as the knowledge of the difference between being an empathetic person and a narcissistic person is going to be common knowledge for everybody. And everybody going to be able to see this type of dysfunction and this type of thing that we've allowed to grow so big in our society. I hold the church accountable. I do. And you might say, sure, you ought to, but listen, I'm 51, getting ready to turn 52. I know what I'm talking about. I've experienced it. Very much so. And I spread awareness of it. I'm not saying every preacher on the planet is a narcissist. I'm saying over 50% are. And they have done extensive damage. When you stand flat-footed somewhere and you believe that God has given you power to speak a word over somebody and curse them to the root. When I found out through my research that most people have a reason to be the way that they are. Okay? That's okay. Say for instance, listen, I'm gonna give you a little story time. And this is not a real story. It might be a real story for somebody. Say, and I've thought about this in my private time. So listen to me. You got this pastor's daughter, okay? Now, she grew up in his house and he is renowned. He's known to be a man of God, and you know, all the people that know him outside of the household know him to be a fantastic person, and even some of his other children in his house. But he got this one daughter that he has chosen her as a certain type of narcissistic supply, and so he does horrible sexual things to her. And the other children haven't seen it, the wife haven't seen it, and the congregants haven't seen it. Well, she's old enough to leave the home. She's left the home and she's on drugs. Okay, she smokes cigarettes, she go to the club. She's still a good person. She got issues. She's never spoken about what her dad did to her, because she's been taught that you don't take the man of God down, because she even has internalized that the devil used her to seduce her dad. She's internalized that. That's how she got the addictions, because now she's trying to regulate her emotions. Nobody knows what that dad has done to her. He is a narcissist. He is. And he has no empathy for her. Matter of fact, he goes as far to tell her in the congregants, and sometimes he preaches about her and says that one day God is going to deal with her for being so reckless and sinful, because his other children are not like that. At the same time, he knows what he's done to this girl. Everybody else that know her looks at her and demonizes her. But you know what? She's the empath, because she's the person who is afraid. She don't want to tear the church down. She don't want to make her daddy look bad. But at the same time, she don't know how to get justice, because she's been wounded so bad. Not only just wounded, but changed. He's changed her, because she don't understand how he could do this to her and be this world-renowned preacher that everybody loved. And if the truth would come out, to be honest, they still wouldn't take up for, because they'll be looking at all the good that he's done. But that's not necessarily good, because the truth is he's a predator. The truth is he's an ungodly person. The truth is he's the villain. And the truth is he needs to be dealt with because of his actions, because that's the truth. But the other people who finally, in her later years, when she about 40 years old, they did find out, and including her mother. But when they found out, they still were not on her side. But they proclaimed to love the truth. Narcissism in the pulpit, it does not need to be there. And in the next 40 years, y'all, the church as we know it, because we've tolerated narcissists all this time, we turned our nose down on psychology. Yes, we did. And mental health, we still doing it. Because the church make too many claims that they cannot back up. Not all of them, some of them, y'all. There's some empathetic pastors, and their eyes have been open to lots of things, and they're in their pulpit correcting lots of things. They're not holding to tradition, because it is a tradition. If they see a tradition and it need to be changed, because they realize that some narcissistic person has done and said some things and has set up a system, they are going to tear that system down. And in the next 40, 50 years, those systems will go. They will go completely. And the church as we know it will not be the church of the future will not be the church that we know today. Because what the church that we know today wants to sweep everything up under the rug in Jesus' name. And it don't work like that. It don't work like that. My thing is, I'm going to play God for a second. I'm going to play God for a second. You might say, sure, that's narcissistic, but it's not, because I'm trying to get somebody to get it. Y'all say y'all love the truth, but yet when you confront it with the truth, you don't want to deal with it, because especially if that truth is, first it's cutting down to the marrow. It's past the bone. It's always in the marrow. And you know that this truth has the power to change everything. And for tradition's sake, you won't touch it. You're not worthy. to stand in that place and proclaim that the spirit that made everything that we see, that spirit is in you. You can't do that. Narcissism in the pulpit, it's got to go. Emotional intelligence has got to come up. We got to learn how to deal with our emotions, y'all. We got to learn. And mental health is important. Every preacher, that's why I've always liked Jakes. I had figured this thing out about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I always liked him because he had a psychology degree. And what he did was he looked at the scriptures through a human psychological mental health filter. Now he's so healthy, y'all. He's so healthy. He's so healthy and he's so bold and courageous. Now, at the end of his reign, in a sense, he done handed his daughter the baton because he know he gonna die. I'm saying this is his legacy. And this girl is so well-rounded. I just saw her on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel. Y'all go follow her. The reason why I like her because she followed her dad and he has so much psychology. The study of man and the Bible itself go together because man wrote the Bible. I can't mess with y'all. Y'all need to think. I'm provoking y'all to think, and I can't share my opinion and commentary, y'all, in a traditional church. They would shut me up, but thank God Almighty for social media. A lot of people don't like social media. I don't know why. Social media is freedom in a box with a ribbon on it. Freedom in a box with a ribbon. Freedom in a box with a ribbon. Freedom to do what? To express yourself. And to be what? Authentically you. So I challenge y'all, be authentically you. Think about some of the things that I've thought about today. Tell a friend about a channel. If you know a good old preacher or a good old fundamentalist and they just need to be stretched mental wise and emotional wise, send them over here to my channel. Y'all have a good day. I love y'all. Kisses and hugs. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye, guys. Bye.